Most people go through their games kind of clueless. They are just reacting to things, and it can feel like the game gets out of hand as a support, and your carries are feeling there's nowhere to farm on the map, and you're not sure. The game just feels hopeless. Biggest thing that I learned from 2k MMR to 10k MMR is that there are literally decisions that you can make as a support that control the game. There is a reason captains are position 5 because we all know hitting creeps takes so much brain power. The problem is most support players don't think about these decisions, and as you start thinking about them and intentionally making them, you will start winning more games and the carry won't even understand it. They'll think they played really well because it isn't represented in KDA. People think carrying game as support is impossible, but it is in fact not. Higher MMR players are not only making better decisions, but they are also making more decisions than you. In this video, I'll be explaining as 10k MMR support all the decisions that I make in my game and how they impact the outcome of the game. Okay, so as soon as the game starts, the first thing that I like to do is I try to figure out the heroes that I'm going to lane against, and based on that, I try to get my starting items. This is where most players make their first mistake. They don't think about the starting items and they just copy paste it from other players, not realizing starting items and generally overall item build, it's based on player's playstyle. And if your playstyle is not the same as the player you're copying, then the items you're going to buy, they're gonna be useless for you. So I'm going to lane against Alchemist and Jakiro in this lane. I need to know what their hero are going to do in the lane, and based on that I'm gonna get my items. So Alchemist and Jakiro, it's an aggressive lane because Alchemist is gonna keep spamming his stun, and Jakiro, he has dual breath, which is gonna use again and again because it is like 10-second cooldown spell. It slows movement speed and attack speed. So if I know this already, that Jakiro is gonna slow down my movement speed and attack speed, with slow attack speed I can never trade attacks with Jakiro, right? As a Grimstroke. So that is why I bought 2 mangoes, because I know the main source of damage from my side is gonna come from my spell. Because my right click is never gonna do a lot of damage to these guys. Because if they right click me back, I'm gonna lose a trade. So that is why I got 2 mangoes. Grenade, it's always good item for support initially. Gives you plus 50 HP and also provides you, a kill potential. 2 Dangos because I need a lot of healing because there will be a lot of trade going on in the lane. Sentry to block the small camp. Ironwood branches for stats and Fairy Fire. I like this item a lot, and I know there's going to be a lot of fighting in the bottom lane because Mars and the Grimstroke, it's an aggressive lane against Jakiro and Alchemist. It is also an aggressive lane. So if there's going to be a fight in the lane, I want to use my Fairy Fire to survive and try to turn around on them. That is why I got Fairy Fire. Also, your skill bit also matters in the lane. Now if I start with Inkswell in this lane, I can't do much because my right click is not going to do much to these guys. They're going to hit me back. And if I have Inkswell, well, I have to walk in and take a lot of damage in that case. So that is why I need to know the reason behind getting my spell. So now I have to think about the lane is starting. Do I need to block the small camp or not? Well, in this case, if I don't block the small camp, Jakiro can pull small camp and they can deny the creep experience and we're gonna be under leveled. And it's either gonna be that, or second thing, if he pulls a small camp and I try to go and farm that, Alchemist can charge stun and go on me with Jakiro's slow. So I can feed here if I don't block the small camp and they pull it. So that is why I blocked the small camp. The other information that I need to know is, can my offlaner secure the range creep or not? In this case, I have Mars offlane who has spells to secure range creep, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But if I'm playing with an offlaner that doesn't have spells to secure range creep, then as a support, it is my job to take range creep with my spell. The reason is, range creep is hard to kill because of its positioning, and your offlaner can take a lot of damage from the enemy heroes while trying to farm the range creep. To avoid that situation, you just use your spells to farm it. I cannot manfight Jakiro because he's always going to outtrade me with his Q, and I'm never gonna be able to right click damage him because of attack speed slow from his ability. So with this information, I'm always going to avoid Jakiro and play on the opposite side to him, because playing on the same side will only favor him as I won't be able to win trades anyway. Here enemy team goes aggressive on my Mars and I'm trying to save him, but here's the major mistake that I make. Even though I'm trying to save him, I'm not realizing that my own positioning is getting bad. Enemy is aggressing towards Mars, but I'm not changing my position. So now they're wrapped around me and they're going on me. It's like when there's a fight happening in the lane, it's okay and it's good to save your offlaner, but make sure to keep an eye on your positioning as well. Because enemy can turn around on you as well, so here's a bad misplay from me. They just go on me, but luckily I have a fairy fire and I survive and we get the first blood in return. Honestly, it was a really bad mistake from me, but we just ended up getting first blood. It's good for us, but this play wasn't set up by us. It was more of a luck play. This is something we need to focus on, not losing your position in the lane. Even though this is something I knew beforehand, I cannot be out of position in the lane, otherwise they can go on me. I was too focused on saving my Mars that I forgot about how badly positioned I am. So that's something you need to do, and you need to reposition yourself in the lane again and again. And think about this scenario that enemy can go on you as well. Okay, so here we got the first player and now I have some gold to buy items. Look at my mana in NHP. It's 2 minutes and I have used all my mana and lost half of my HP. 2 tangos are not enough. They're going to heal me up, but then I need more healing. So instead of saving my gold to buy brown boots, they're not going to provide any value if I have no mana in the lane, right? I'm going to use 2 mangoes and they're going to give me 200 mana, and then 2 times I'm going to use my this spell. I'm going to be out of mana again. So because I know this, I need HP plus mana to survive this lane. So that is why I use my courier to get a magic stick. Why? Because both the enemy heroes like to spam their spells. Stick is going to help me with HP and mana regen problems. And then I get a healing salve. Because of course I'm losing a lot of HP and then a clarity as well. So what's important is brown boots. They're important in some cases, like when you have insane amount of good lead and you are like good with your HP and mana. But in this case, I'm losing a lot of HP and mana right now because I'm trading and I'm also using my spells. So that is why I should always prioritize these consumables, mana resources and HP resources items. Here I'm trying to unblock the hard cam, but I fail. That's my bad. I should only do it when the support is not around and when enemy cannot contest me. So now look at the timer. It's 2:43. This is where we need to secure Lotus. The 2 best ways to secure Lotus is either you push the lane towards enemy's side so they cannot fight you, or you just try to fight the enemy hero and keep them so low that they are not able to contest the Lotus. Here in this scenario, we can't push the lane because it's too late now. That's why I went for the second option, which is trying to fight the enemy hero and make their health so low. I'm just using my spell on Alchemist again and again and keeping him so low that he is not going to be able to contest Lotus. Planning for Lotus beforehand is really important. We got the Lotus and now you're going to see the value of it later on. It's like instant 125 HP and mana restore, right? So next fight, if there's going to be happening, we're going to have an edge in terms of HP. So the fights are going to be easier for us. 3-minute Lotus secure. Now need to reposition again. Mars is fighting, so fight with him. Why is he going so aggressive? Because of course he has Lotus and the enemy does not. If the enemy has Lotus, these moves are not possible. Every small decision that you make opens up more moves or plays for you and your team. Dealt good damage to them, now we're going to farm the wave. I have low HP, but I called for healing salve earlier and it's all good. But if I have saved for brown boots, I would be literally useless in the lane right now. Because of this healing, because of Lotus, this is going to allow us to go aggressive on them later on in the lane. Here we wrapped them around, and just remember, all of these moves are possible because I bought good starting items. We planned for Lotus and I got healing resources. I didn't make any big items. Initially, that is why we are able to play lane. Otherwise, if I didn't get these items, the lane was over for us. Going aggressive, Lotus used, HP restored, and kill secured on Jakiro, right? So generally, I like to go for Q and then 2 levels into Inkswell in the lane. But you need to be adaptable in every scenario. Now I am playing against an alchemist who is going to charge his stun. So in such a lane, I need my silence. Why? Because look, now he is charging his stun and I'm going to silence him and he cannot throw his stun anymore. But if I didn't have silence over here, he would have stunned this guy on Mars and safely go under tower, get healing, drop healing in base and get healing from Jakiro and heal up. But because I got silence, we can kill him. So you need to get silence in some scenarios against heroes like Faceless Void, let's say Alchemist, to outplay them. So you don't have to follow your usual build on your hero. Instead, think about which spell is going to be helpful in the lane. There's so much that you can adapt and get value from, and all of this is possible when you'll actively think about the game. Here I'm just going to die from the tower because both the enemy heroes are dead. And even if I die to tower, nobody's gonna get the EXP because the heroes are dead anyways. Like if I stay in the lane and call for HP plus mana regen resources, the courier's gonna take a lot of time to come, and by the time the courier's gonna come, enemy will take a lot of advantage of it because I'll be so low that I won't be able to provide any value. So I am dead right now and I have to look at the bottom lane. Mars is dying. Is there anything I can do here to save him? Like if I TP, there's nothing I can do, right? Because the creep wave is here, I cannot even get the EXP. Can I go top? Ursa is also dying. If I TP top, nothing's gonna happen. So after you're dead, like every time you're dead, look at the map and see where you can provide the most value. Now I TP middle lane because like both my cores are dead, so there is no point TPing into their lane. I TP mid, I refill his bottle. Now this is a really small play, but it has like insane amount of value. Like giving my mid laner full bottle charges, he can survive the lane now. Alright, so now I'm just gonna walk bottom again. So the reason I placed vision here is because I know if Jakiro comes here to try and deal, like this is gonna give me insane amount of vision in the lane. But if Jakiro comes to try to reward this, me and Mars, we can go aggressive on him and kill him. So it's like a win-win situation for us. And here we just deal a lot of good damage on him and go back. Now look at the timer. 6-minute power rune, they're extremely important, and supports should honestly go to every power rune they can, because power rune provides a lot of control to the mid laner. Like it impacts the mid laner's game a lot. Now, like for example, if Pango gets the power rune and Cop doesn't, Pango will have an insane edge. He can either gank side lanes and set up the pace of the game for his team, or he can just solo kill the Cop with the power rune advantage. Similarly, if Cop gets the power rune, Cop is gonna do this thing. So support should go there and help the mid laner. So when you play Dota with keeping objective and their timers in mind, you're less AFK on the map and you have like purpose in the game. Otherwise, if you're not thinking about timers, not keeping them in mind, you're just gonna be AFK in your lane forever, and whatever's happening in other two lanes, you're never gonna be able to control them. But if you are active on the map, you can control the game as a support. So here I tried to secure the power rune, but unlucky it spawned top, but it's whatever, I went to help. Next thing that I need to keep in mind is wisdom rune. 7-minute wisdom rune is gonna spawn and I have to take it somehow. If I don't, I'm just gonna be level 3 for so long and it's gonna affect my game really badly. In many cases and many games, enemy team they either their mid laner comes to bottom and they fight for the wisdom rune on 7 minutes, 14 minutes, or enemy position 5, if they have stun, they try to sneak in and try to secure the wisdom rune, like steal the wisdom rune from you. So this is something you as a support need to keep in mind and be active about it, and talk to your teammates about how you wanna take the wisdom rune on you, because let's say if I don't get the wisdom, it's really bad for me. So here I made a mistake. Even though I tried to block the small camp later on, but enemy dewarded it, I didn't contest it enough. Now he stacked it and now he's pulling it. Because of this stack pull, look at this. This wave is not coming into the lane and Mars is playing the lane here around wisdom timing. And because of this, because Mars is playing here and there is no creep wave, like let's say if this creep wave was not pulled, the wave would have been over here. But because this is happening, like this pull happened, and this pull happened because it was my mistake as a support. I didn't block the small camp again. I blocked it 2 times, but then enemy dewarded and I gave up on it. So this is like mistake on my end. If I give up on something and enemy is trying hard on something, then obviously they're gonna get more value out of it. So because of this stack pull, which was my mistake, Mars is in a bad position and Pango TPs, and look at the timer. It is a wisdom rune timer. If we don't get the wisdom rune, my game is ruined. I'm gonna be level 3. Here Mars dead, my mistake. I'm dying, my mistake. Wisdom rune. It's unlucky, but like here at least I'm active and I'm telling my co-op to TP and secure it. So at least enemy team doesn't get it. So one mistake and this happened. But anyways, we move on. Now that I'm dead, so as I mentioned earlier, every time you're dead, you need to know and you need to look at other lanes and see where you can provide value. Now co-op doesn't have TP. So me going mid when my creep wave is an enemy's tower, it's bad. So if enemy creep wave was somewhere here, I would have TP'd mid to get EXP. But right now if I could TP mid, there's no value. If I TP bottom, is there any value? I don't like, there might be something happening, but look at top lane. Tide, he's playing in my vision, in my tower. So if I TP top, there's something I can do, right? So I use this into my advantage and I TP top and try to go on Tide. And because of this TP, like if I didn't TP, this Ursa would have been dead, right? But because I TP'd, I saved the safe lane. And we got a kill. So the simple rule to see this is, every time you're dead, look at every lane and then make your decision. Like you have so much time while you're dead, instead of like minimizing and using Instagram or whatever, watching reels, focus on other lanes and see what you can do. And this TP saved the game, honestly. Otherwise, this Ursa would be dead again. He would be level 4, Tide would be level 6. They would take tower and it's GG. But because of one TP, I saved the game. Alright, now I'm playing with CM. Dealing damage again. Power runes are coming. I'm not there. It's my bad. But every time there's some power rune spawning, you need to be there as a support. Alright. So what people mostly do in mid game is they like to follow their mid laner, like the strongest core in the game. But me, I like to follow, like, you know, as a support, I like to play around my other support in the lane. So right now there's no value, like I missed the power rune timer, so there's no point in going mid. I don't have TP, I cannot go bottom right now. So the only thing that I can do is I can punish this Tide, and my hero is actually really good against Tide, because Tide, he cannot dispel my silence unless he hits it, because oh, he doesn't even have Kraken, so it's whatever. But like this is something that's in my mind, that my silence, it can never be taken off Tide unless he double hits it. So I'm just gonna be playing against Tide and, you know, try to do whatever I can and just win this lane for my team. So now I have one safe lane for my team, even though I am position 4. And always keep one smoke with yourself as a support. Like after 5 minutes, always keep one, because you wanna rotate on map and, you know, make moves on the map. Because if you're not the one making moves, then enemy is gonna be one making moves, and then he's gonna be controlling the game, the enemy team. Alright, so I'm moving with my CM. Now I have to think about where can my hero provide value. Like if I just kill Tide, he doesn't have a TP, so there's no point in going top. If I TP bottom, like this is really good. Mars is farming here. If I TP bottom, I will have no mana, so I'm just gonna be useless on the bottom lane as well. So the only thing I can do is either I can go mid and try to kill Pango with CM and Cop, or I can stack for my teammates. So I decided to go mid to get a kill on Pango, because that's what I can do at the moment. But it's so hard, we cannot dive tower, so it's whatever, we ignore him, and then I just move with my CM on the other lane. Because one thing, we have vision here, we can take a good fight. And just moving top, placing a casual sentry to see if enemy has vision here. If enemy had vision and we didn't check it, this would have been super bad for us, because, you know, Pango can TP, Tide can ravage, and we're done. Okay, so I identified that CM second is really good with my second and third spell. So I'm just gonna be moving with CM, like give him all the calls on the map, you know, make him follow me, and just try to find kills on the map. Because if I'm killing them and enemy is reacting to my move, so notice how I killed this guy, Wish Doctor on top, and Jakiro instantly TP'd. So this is space, like I'm making space on the map with CM, forcing enemy to react to my place. If enemy is reacting to my place, then obviously reactionary Dota is always bad. So now we smoked for the power rune timer, the 10-minute mark, and gonna try to kill Pango. Our heroes are actually really good against Pango as well, so we need to focus him as well. So here, freeze, silence, dead. Mid lane secured, power lane secured, top lane also won. How? Because supports are moving together, and, you know, we're active on the map. Right here, tipping bottom to go on Mars. So because I killed Witch Doctor top, because I forced Jakiro to TP, because I smoked and make my CM to go mid and kill Pango, who is dead right now, this bottom lane opened up. Like this Alchemist is farming in a really weird spot and he's alone. And the only reason this is happening is because me and CM, we were moving on the map together. So supports can actually control the entire game if they are playing better than enemy supports. And none of this move was possible if I was, you know, only standing AFK bottom and doing nothing. So next thing that I want to do here is Alchemist is dead, all good. Now what's next? 3 heroes are showing top, which means I can easily gank this Pango with my CM. And the only reason I am focusing on Pango so much is because enemy has strong timing with Pango's defusal. They're waiting for Pango's defusal and then they're gonna smoke and kill us. So as soon as I'm killing Pango and delaying his defusal timing, I'm really good. So I just casually walked in tower's range, but tower didn't attack me. The reason I did this is because tower cannot see me here because of the trees, right? But I am still standing, like I was still standing in tower's range. If tower doesn't hit me, it means tower doesn't have vision on me. But if tower hits me, it means, you know, enemy team has vision here, and that's why tower can see me and it's hitting me. So guys, I just casually, you know, while walking mid, I just checked if enemy has vision here or not. After that, we're just going to kill Pango. We're just going to try to punish him and delay his defusal timings. That's all we can do right now. And we just gank mid, kill Pango, all good, just go back. Few reasons behind only killing Pango in this game is, so since like now map is so big, there's so many neutral camps, like 5 of them are on the bottom, and then there are these 2 camps, and then this ancient alchemist can be farming anywhere. So it's really hard for us to find alchemist in the jungle. To get to alchemist, to take map control, we have to take towers first. If we take mid tower, it's gonna give us access to this jungle. We can easily move to triangle over here in these 2 camps. If we take bottom tier 1, then we can access the bottom jungle as well. But right now it's really hard because we don't have towers. So that is one reason why we cannot kill alchemist and we cannot pressure him. Second reason, this alchemist is he's really hard to kill as well. Why? Because even if we freeze him or slow him, whatever, he's just gonna use ultimate and dispel it. And then tide is also really hard to kill because in my mind, I don't know if he has Kraken or not, but if he has Kraken, it's really hard to chase at this point because he has also taken tower and he's just farming safely. He's not showing. So Pango is the only target right now that we can kill easily. One, because he doesn't have anything to escape our silence and root from CS. And second, if we keep killing him and his diffusal keeps getting delayed, he will not be able to make any moves on the map. And since he will not be making any moves, enemy team will only be, you know, AFK farming, and their supports will also be crying about how their mid laner is doing nothing. While in reality, it's not Pango who's playing bad, it's just CM and Grimstroke who are setting the pace of the game so good that Pango's not able to do anything. So that's the only reason we just keep focusing on Pango. And like if we go on Alchemist, the one thing that's, and like enemy team, they like to TP to whatever you are doing, right? That's how Dota works. People just, you know, TP randomly to any lane where there's fight happening. So if we go on Alchemist, enemy team is gonna TP and they're gonna react to us. And since we don't have enough burst damage to kill Alchemist, this enemy's TP, they're gonna be bad for us. Even though we already know this information that we cannot do anything to Alchemist, Alchemist can only die if he is far forward in the lane. But if Alchemist is playing in safe area under his tower or a farming jungle, then it's not possible for 2 supports to go and kill him. But still, even though we know this is bad, we're still making this move, and it's my bad that I made this call, and we get punished for it. So one thing we can learn from here is, when you know what your hero can do and what your hero cannot do, don't force your hero to do something your hero cannot do. Like because of this, like enemy team, they were doing nothing. This is me and CM who smoked and tried to kill Alchemist and gave them free gold and free EXP. So, you know, you have to not force your hero to do something your hero cannot do. Like there was no point in making this move. But it's wherever we move on from here. And because of this bad play, we also gave Pango the DD. Because me and CM, we were not there to secure the 1200 power rune. So one mistake led to another. So it's one simple thing, don't force your hero to do what your hero cannot do. Okay, I'm dead. I'm looking at which lane can I provide value in. I TP top because I feel like I can do something to Tide. But he's okay. Ravage used. All good. There's no Ravage. We can now take a fight. Once again, we need to reset everything. And now I'm thinking about the ways we can take mid tower. Because again, Pango's defusal is something we have to delay. And now me and CM are again waiting for Pango. And as soon as he comes, shows, he dies. 14-minute power runes coming. For that we have to play now. And we're taking mid tower. again, supports moving together, controlling on the entire game. Okay, here I was like, I wanted to secure a steal wisdom rune, but I used my scan and noticed enemy team is already there. So I decided to, leave it. Now I'm thinking about in 4 seconds, Pango is gonna respawn, and if he's a bad player, he's gonna TP mid and die again. So that's what I'm planning to do. If he's a good player, he's not gonna TP. We're waiting. Unlucky, he would have TP'd, I'm pretty sure, but TP is on cooldown, so it's whatever. But Witch Doctor TPs and he dies, so it's good for us. Got a free kill. Tide TP'd forced. Now me and CM were again moving together. So from here onwards, there are few things that I need to keep in mind. How I want to use my spells. So I want to use my silence on Tide always, because he can never use Ravage if my silence is on him. And the other thing, I have to use my ultimate on Pango's rolling. That's something I need to, I need to wait for these things to happen, and then I'm gonna use my spells. Me and CM moving together, killing. Pango comes in rolling. Soulbind used. Silence. Again, forced Pango's rolling. Got a kill. Got out. So from here onwards, it's just gonna be a stomp like this. Me and CM are just gonna move on the map, and we're gonna provide everything for our teammates. Like right now, if you notice, enemy team is not making a single move. Why? Because we are not letting them do it. We kill on top lane, we force their TPs, and then we rotate to somewhere their teammates cannot follow up. So if you're playing active like this, you're always gonna be the one controlling the game. Always outnumbering the enemy, and here casual silence on Tide, so he cannot use Ravage, and we're chilling. 16-minute power run. Okay, so there are gonna be times when, look, notice this Ursa, he's gonna be diving too deep. Ravage use. So one thing you'll notice, now I'm repositioning myself, never getting caught in enemies' spells. So no matter what happens, even if your cores are dying, he has Aegis, I know, right? So in some cases, supports also, like I have no spells, supports also walk into towers range and they end up dying first. But I know Ursa has BK Aegis. Even if he dies, he's gonna come back. So instead of losing my position, I'm keeping my position safe. I'm not diving with him. Because of this, we force enemies movement, we get out. Everything's good. Instead of me and CM also walking in tower and feeding, we just got out. And now we're just playing for power rune. Luckily, Cop got it on bottom. Again. No, there's no Ravage, no Pango rolling. We can go aggressive on them. 3 of us moving together, and because of that, we got kill on Alchemist, who's in a bad position. And right now we're making these moves because we know they don't have Ravage. And again, it's possible because we're moving together on map. So that's something you can also apply in your games after the night time, like 6 minutes onward, 7, 8 minutes, whatever, whenever you like. When you feel like you can roam around with your support and make moves on the map, do it. Like 17 minutes, we have 5k leads, and from here onwards, it's just gonna be me and CM. We basically set up the pace of the game for our teams. Okay, so after securing the early game for your team as a support, the main thing that's remaining is how you take team fights. So the only way we can lose the game from here is me as a support. I stop taking fights properly. By that I mean, I start dying first in team fights without using my spells. And even if I'm living in fights, I need to make sure I'm using my spells properly. Now look at their enemies draft. Alchemist, he has a BKB. I cannot silence him. Witch Doctor, yes, I can silence him to stop his ultimate, so that's something I can keep in mind. Jakiro, do I need to silence him? Well, in some cases I might, but it's not my priority because I have to stop either Witch Doctor's ultimate or I have to silence Tide so he cannot use Ravage. And lastly, one thing, how I want to use my ultimate, I want to use my ultimate on Pangolier so he cannot roll. So these things, if I already know this beforehand, like before fight happens, I can use them easily. Now here, Pango comes rolling, I just leash him and all good, he's dead. But if I'm not using my spells properly, then it's like really bad. Like here I made a mistake. I used my silence on Alchemist who has a BKB. Instead, I should have held my silence for who? this guy on Tide. If I silence Tide here, he cannot use Ravage. And if this Ravage doesn't happen, this March doesn't get caught. So yes, after the mid game, you just have to, like after the early game, you just have to think about the fighting like this. Think about what enemy can do and how can they punish you and how can, you can punish them. To summarize all of this, which can be used as a rulebook to play support, play Dota around objectives and timings like blocking camps, 3-minute Lotus pool, 6-minute onwards every power rune, 7-minute wisdom rune. Think actively about where your hero can provide the most value. If there's nothing you can do in your lane, then it's better to either stack for your core or make moves on the other lane to win them and force the enemy for bad rotations. 5 or 6 minute onwards, always keep one smoke with yourself so you can roam around the map with your mid laner without getting detected by enemy's vision. Think about which hero is worth shutting down in the game and focus on him. All of this is going to be possible when you will start actively thinking about the game. Sometimes you will make bad decisions and sometimes you will make good decisions but badly execute them. So don't let that upset you, rather watch your own replay and notice what went wrong and how you can improve that. You can improve insanely when you're gonna focus more and think more about the game. Make plans for yourself in your games for every aspect of the game, starting from the first bounty rune fight to mid-game rotations and team fights. When you already have a plan on how you want to use your spells or position yourself, the game will feel easier and you will have more impact. If you want to connect and talk about Dota, you can join my Discord linked in description. I hope this was helpful. Do let me know if you have any feedback regarding this style of video. Otherwise, good luck with your games and have a nice day.